Well, how's the team sort of bounced back from the defeat on the weekend, Chief?
Oh, we'll find out tomorrow. But the spirit's pretty good in the group at the moment. Disappointing to lose in the last minute. It's it's very hard to take anything positive away from that, especially when you give 100%. But again, the group's very resilient, so I expect we'll give an honest performance tomorrow.
And Alex Rufer comes back into the team. What will he bring?
I think he gives us a little bit more experience, to be fair, in those bigger games. He gives us a little bit more balance as well with the ball, and I think defensively is probably the one link that we probably missed in the last game.
You said it was hard to take anything away from the match? Are you that downbeat on the performance, or you just mean...
No, I mean, as in, I feel like, every game that we've had this year, we've gained a little bit, even in the defeats, and I think from that one was probably more, it was more gutting than anything. Because I don't think the boys could have given any more than that. So that's what I meant. I meant it was more of a disappointment not getting something out of that game.
Was there a confidence loss or a morale?
No, not at all. There's nothing to do with the morale. It's just more the situation of the context of the game and what was at stake. But again, we're going to face now, I think, 6 of those matches in total if, we get all the way through to the grand final. So I think that's probably the one thing that you could say is a positive, is that now they're going to get used to these sort of games, and they're going to have to get used to that feeling of playing through, a cutthroat sort of game.
Tim Payne came off the bench against the Mariners. What's his likelihood of starting tomorrow night? Yeah, so that was more precautionary. The thing is that we could have risked him to start, but there would have been a higher risk of him being injured. I think the intention would be that we're looking to start him tomorrow, just whether he gets through the 90. I think if you speak to the physios, it'll be more precautionary. They wouldn't want him to play the full 90, but if you asked him, he'll want to play, especially such a massive game. So we'll see how he goes to training today, and then we'll make that assessment for tomorrow. Anything else in terms of injuries? Isaac Hughes probably not still ready to come? Yeah, I think Hughes is still on track for where we expected. I think the best case scenario is he'll be ready for semi-finals, but even then it'll be a bit of a stretch. So that's disappointing on our end, especially with the squad depth and so on, because he's doing really well as well. So fingers crossed he can make a speedier recovery. Still waiting for Oz. We'll find out early this week where he's at. He might be back on the park training, but again, still a little bit early to make that call. And the rest is just as normal. Does it feel more likely you'll play a back 4 tomorrow night? Potentially. We'll see. What sort of informs your decision making around that? Whether it back 4, back 5? Yeah. Well, it really comes down to 2 factors. I think tactically from the opposition, where the space is presented, and whether the opposition is more daring at home. So when a team is more daring at home, they like to throw numbers forward. So it might be attacking fullbacks, it might be more forward runs from their 10. So back 5 kind of conditions for that. And then we kind of just, we work to where we think the space will be, and then we try to affect that. But there are times that we played back 4 when teams, play a little bit lower, fullbacks come down a little bit more, 10 start looking for the ball, which kind of suits us. So yeah, there's a lot of consideration. And I think the second one is, the big one is personnel available as well. And what about the way Victory will approach the game? Because they're still chasing, a top 2 spot. Premier's Plate is still in their sights mathematically. Do you expect them to be a bit more aggressive away from home than perhaps they ordinarily would be? I think they will take the approach they have all season. They're a very good team, especially with the ball. I think that's the one thing a lot of teams underplay. They create quite a number of chances. Probably not, they don't get the return that they merit. But with the ball, they're very, very dangerous. And I think defensively, they're quite sound. So I can't see them going, helter-skelter from the start. It's not in their style. I think they'll work into the game like they do every other game, and they're looking for opportunities, little half moments, and capitalise on the chances that they'll make. But again, it's up for us to neutralise them and make sure that we don't give them that step up. Do you look back at the 2 previous games against them this season, both 1-all draws? Mm-hmm. Do you use that as a reference point for tomorrow night at all?
performances and the way they played, the way you played those games?
Yeah, everything's always factored into Ponty. Like we take everything into account. Not only those 2 games, we also look at footage back from the pre-season trial. They were undefeated for a long time, but we beat them in a pre-season friendly. It was a really good game when we played them, and we respect them immensely. So I think tomorrow night's going to be more about that little edge, that little small difference that no one sees. And again, tomorrow's like a grand final, so they'll be looking for that same edge as well.
And after every loss this season, you've bounced back with a good performance, either a win or I think away at Adelaide, a 2-2 draw, a good performance. Is that bounce back ability, is that coincidence, or is there something about responding
I think it's the group.
to defeat?
I think it's the group. I think the players, I'm extremely proud of my playing group. They're resilient by nature, and I think every time a challenge is put forward to them, they've always stepped up. And again, I keep saying it's not about the result for me, it's more about the performance. I want to see a good performance tomorrow. I just hope the weather doesn't take away from the spectacle tomorrow. But I think on the flip side, we have all the fans that I want coming out and supporting us. It's such a big game for us. And I know, look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what happens tomorrow, what the result is. For me, if I know that our players give 100%, I'm satisfied with that. Last week, that's why it was a little bit gut-wrenching last week, because I thought the boys gave everything they had. They weren't their best, like in terms of with the ball and, certain moments, but they gave everything, and it was just disappointing to give it away at the last second.
Oscar Zada had quite a cryptic post last night saying,
did he?
"See you soon."
Yep.
Wellington Phoenix. I don't know, is he chomping at the bit? Is he really at you saying, "Please give me some minutes, I'm ready," or is it?
Well, he has to train first, so I think that's a big factor. So once he starts training, and we feel like he can contribute, then we'll play him. So I can't speak to his cryptic post.
Is there the players yesterday, Ben and Tim, spoke a lot about learning from mistakes?
Yes.
Is it almost a good thing that they are potentially making these mistakes now at this stage of the season before heading into a finals?
Yeah, again, look, I think I think you learn. I mean, it's so cliche, but you do learn a lot from defeat, right? And it's the best time to basically address any issues you have, right? And I think where we were disappointed in that game last week was we gave up 2 very soft goals, uncharacteristic goals. Was that due to application or focus, or maybe a tactical mishap on my part? It could have been a factor of all these 3. We addressed it this week. What we're looking for now is that in the next game that we're aware of those things, and that if we can curb them, then hopefully the result looks after itself. And I think the group's done that all year. But sometimes you also have to put it larger. You have to take a step back and you go, all right, how far the group has actually progressed and to get into this position. And again, when I reflected on that, coming on the plane back from Central Coast, I was actually quite proud, because I was like, the same people that are saying that we're going to finish last, now are saying, it'd be disappointing if you don't, finish it off here and that. So we've come quite a long way. So yeah.
And you spoke about the resilience of the team. What do you put that down to this season?
Well, I think first and foremost, there's a lot of respect within the group from a player-to-player perspective. I think a lot of them are good friends. I think as well the coaching staff and I have tried to build a more of a family sort of environment, and also a collective mentality where all ships rise with the tide sort of mentality, and I think they've bought into that. And I think there's a lot of emphasis, not so much on the tactical side, but more about them as people and values and what we think is important. We also had the ability at the beginning of the season to shape that squad in that sort of mould early, and I think that benefited us this long term. I think every time we've hit an obstacle, we've come on top, and again, that just goes down to a really good bunch of players and a good group.
How important is finishing top 2 for a championship?
It helps. It depends which way you look at it, right? So, top 2, you get the week off, okay, and it allows you to rest and It allows you to regroup and focus on things that you might want to work on.
Home second leg as well, in the semis.
Home second leg, but the big disadvantage is you lose the momentum of playing a match every week. However, on the statistical side, if you were to be a bit of a nerd, traditionally I think it's 95% of teams that finish in the top two. The winner will come from those top two. I think Victory were one of the teams that finished outside. They came 5th or 6th one year. They won it. And I'm not sure if it was Perth, maybe it was another year, but that's over the lifespan of the whole A-League. So finishing in that top two, having that week off actually benefits you a lot. Now, you know, does the season form go into semi-finals? Potentially. But again, I think the team that comes 6th has got as much chance as anyone else to win the competition. But if you were to go on those stats, I think finishing top 2 does benefit you quite a bit.
Given you've just played top of the table, you're about to play 3rd.
Equal top.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. They were 2nd. You played 2nd in the table. Now you're playing 3rd.
Yeah.
Do you concede if you don't win or get a good result against Victory, you will have lost momentum?
No, not at all. No. I don't view momentum as that. I think momentum is a characterisation of where you finish at the end of the season. So I think the worst case scenario will finish 3rd. So I think any team, I think the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th and 12th team would be wishing they were in our position and would be thinking that we would have momentum because that's where we ended up. Do you lose games throughout the season? Yes. If you lose 2, does it mean that you've lost complete momentum? No, because you still have to play the next 90 minutes and anything can happen. So again, I don't buy into all that. I think you lose momentum if you were to see us to come out tomorrow and we get pumped and the performance was abysmal and there was no reaction. Then we've definitely lost momentum.
Well, that leads into my next question, which was going to be, given there's a floor of 3rd and that they're all good situations to finish up in, do you think about resting players or trying new things?
No. I don't think. I put the players who I think are going to give us the best performance, and that changes weekly. There was an interesting. I was looking at the stats before in terms of formations and player distribution and who starts. We've had 5 different formations this year, and we've had at the start we had the same starting team playing, and then we've changed it, and I still go with that mentality. I will play the team that I think will get us the best performance.
5 different formations, and that doesn't include the nonsense you serve up to us on the team sheet each week to try and trick us.
Well, no. I understand, but you should also look at the opposition, what they do as well. I don't think it's as clear cut as that. I think both teams are playing games before the actual game.
One last question,
which is healthy, by the way.
Yeah. That's good. It's all good fun. Alex Paulson's the runaway choice to be the A-League All-Stars goalkeeper. He's not going to be, obviously, because you're going to be in the grand final, so he won't get picked.
Sure, that's good.
Do you think he's the best goalkeeper in the league?
Yes, I think he's the best goalkeeper in the league.
I mean, that's quite remarkable, really, given where he started the season.
Not for me, because I've seen what he's about. I've seen him from day one. It was just, it's matching the potential to performance for me. But I also say, look, he's been great. But I think the driving force behind him is a very, very good number 2. And I think Jack Duncan has really, really pushed him. And I don't think AP has had the ability to breathe and rest on his laurels because he's got a number 2 that's really come up. And, that's a credit to Jack. He's been great for the group. But, healthy competition, drives performance.